Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Meet Jen. Jen is late every single day. Jen is shocked when her boss catches her coming in late. Jen tries to figure out how her boss found out. Jen doesn't think it's because she's late every effing day. No, Jen is sure that cannot be the cause. Jen's future is not promising. Her shocking inability to link cause and effect will catch up with her sooner rather than later. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Made my coworker look bad for being late. So there have been a couple of incidents lately that have led my coworker, Jen, to become very angry with me. For background, we're both scheduled to start work at 8 o'clock every day. I usually get there between 7:30 and 7:45. Jen typically gets in at 8:30 or later. I've never complained about her getting in late or tried to draw attention to it. Doesn't affect my job. It's not my business and I don't care. The first incident was on a day that I was running late. I was only running 5 minutes or so late, but I texted my coworkers to let them know because the last time I was 5 minutes late, I received 6 phone calls asking where I was before I got to work because people are used to me getting there early. Throughout the day, Jen made several jokes about how lazy I was for being late. Then when we were in the elevator together leaving for work, she said in a rather sharp tone, "You know, when you make a big show of telling everyone that you're going to be late when it's only 5 minutes, it's pretty obvious that you're just trying to show everyone else up. You're not going to make any friends with that teacher's pet act, FYI." I just kind of brushed it off and hadn't thought of it again until today. Today's the third day since the secure access cards we use to get into our office have been on the fritz. I got to work at 7:30 only to find that my secure access card wouldn't work. One coworker who gets in at 7 every day was already there, but when I called, his line was busy, so I just waited for whoever came in next. That turned out to be my and Jen's boss, at 8:30. He asked why I was in the parking lot, and I explained about my card and the other coworker's line being busy. He asked why Jen hadn't let me in, and I just said I hadn't seen her that morning. He let me in, and I thought that was the end of it. Nope. At 9:30, Jen comes into my office crying and closes the door before tearing into me about how I embarrassed her and got her written up by telling our boss she was late. I didn't see anything I did as wrong, but Jen's position is that I am a brown-nosing little stuck-up bee who orchestrated both of these situations to make her look bad for being late. Should I have handled one or both of these differently? Well done, OP. If she doesn't want to be reprimanded for being late, then maybe she should try not being late? You didn't even directly tell your boss she was late. All you said was that you hadn't seen her that morning. Presumably, she could have been up there and you just didn't see her. Your boss knew something was up. And our second story. Are you sure that's what you want, sir? Long ago, when I was but a young man in the U.S. Air Force, I was posted to work as a programmer on the master budget for the USAF and the Pentagon. That might sound like something, but mostly it was just writing or modifying some old COBOL code to produce reports on things like lubricant expenditures. Still, even using the word lubricants? Not exciting. Now, the U.S. Air Force budget is a big thing. I mean, really honking gigantic big. Everything's in there, from gravel to be purchased to sand to driveway in Minot, North Dakota, to every nut and bolt and fiddly bit, technical term, to be found in a bomber. The data is encoded not just by item, but by project, and also by base, and by category code, and by etc. In other words, there are a whole lot of different ways that you can report on the same data. A lot. One of the banes of my existence during the blissful period of my enslavement to gigantic computing machines was when new budget analysts would come on board and start asking for new ways of looking at the data. This is because there's already a library of 957 bazillion different reports written by our team just to keep idiots like them contented and sleepy. Now, usually we could show the brand spanking new budget analyst an existing report and point out how to find the data that he wanted to see. Almost always this pacified them, and they did the best thing possible, which is pick up their large daily report and go away. I say almost because from time to time we'd get a dude who would either ask for something no one else had ever asked for, very rarely, or they would insist that an existing report be modified in some stupid way to feature only the data they wanted. Okay, one last explanation. These reports run every day. They are printed out on 14-inch wide green bar fan fold printer paper. Then they are burst and collated, put on carts, and then delivered upstairs to the hallowed sanctuary of the analysts. They would then look up about 3 lines of data, mark a change, and then dispose of the report for recycling in the pulping shredder. So one day there's a new fire-breathing analyst prowling my floor looking for someone to bother. It was my turn in the barrel that day, so I took his request. He explains to me that he needs a brand new report written. I nod along. He says that for each line item in the U.S. Air Force spares inventory, about 900 bazillion things or so, to please print out the base that each individual component is assigned to, and then for each base that each item is assigned to, print out the code name of the logistics program associated. In case my explanation is fuzzy, this is a laughably bad, miserable, terrible, horrible, awful idea. I explained to him that the information he's asking for should be collated in exactly the reverse order: logistics program by base, then a list of associated items and spares, and it just so happens that we run that report at least once a week, and would he like a copy? Needless to say, he made it apparent that I was an idiot, so I called my boss over. The analyst made his opinion of my boss perfectly clear to my boss, so the division chief was pulled over. Now this is where the beauty of the story begins. The analyst calls his boss's boss's boss and reports us for failure to make him happy. I get told by my boss to run the report. I smile and nod. I tell the analyst, sir, this is a large report. Do you not mind if we run it tonight? He says, have it on my desk in the morning. My boss says, we'll do our best. It's a big report. Are you certain that you want this big report? Analyst demands it. My section head says, great, please put that order in writing here, and copy here, and I'll just note my objections here. Analyst has ignored about 9 million warning signs and agrees. So I sit down at the punch card machine, modify an existing program to remove specific constraints that any GD sensible human who has enough sense to keep his D out of his zipper would not ever remove, and I submit the job to start running on the midnight batch. Usually, all our nightly reports are completed by about 2 a.m. This night, no nightly reports are allowed to run as the machine is busy. All the machine's printers are busy. 2 a.m. comes and goes. 3. Phones start ringing from the operators in the machine room, screaming like their butts were on fire. No one's reports are running. My boss gets a call at home and tells them to make absolutely certain that job runs to completion. 5 a.m. comes, the report is still running. 6 a.m. Finally, at about 7 a.m., one of the general officers in charge of the budget program is called and informed that no nightly reports have run at all, and there are several 100,000 pages of paper already spooled off the printers, with many, many millions more pages to come. Guys from the staff have been running loads of reporting up to one individual analyst's office, and no more will fit, so they're storing it somewhere. Now our butts got chewed something fierce, but in the military, there's not really a lot that anyone can do when you have written legal orders from the chain of command that have also been verbally authorized by senior department officers. Not much at all. On the other hand, if you're a new budget analyst, it's entirely possible that you can get the butt-reaming of a lifetime and then get told, don't ever ask the budget reports group to run a report for you as long as you work here. You're too stupid to breathe your own air. If you want something, ask another analyst to tell you if you actually need it, and then submit that request in writing to a senior officer. And that, kids, is the story of how I made someone disappear for 4 years. In all this discussion, did anyone actually tell this guy what you're asking for would take up literally millions of printed pages? So much paper that it won't even all fit in your office? Just curious if someone actually explained the extent of the idiocy beforehand and he ignored it, or if everyone just had vague, that might not be a good idea responses that he bowled through. And our last story. HOA board member doesn't think the rules apply to them. There is a major parking problem in my neighborhood. People park in the alleys, in front of fire hydrants, block driveways, and park in other non-designated parking areas. Yesterday it was so bad that it prevented the movement of traffic at the entrance/exit to the community. You could technically squeeze your car through, but only very carefully. I took a pic and posted it to the community Facebook page. Immediately, one of the board members comments, "The first car is in front of my house doing repairs. The other was a delivery. They were not parked there for very long. There's no other place for work/delivery vehicles to park." While persistent on-street parking by residents is a problem in our community and will be addressed by the board in the near future, the parking in this photo is not representative of a parking problem. It was non-residents providing services to owners. While this is an inconvenience, it's a necessary evil when living in a small, close-quarters community. Here was my reply. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care why the cars were there. Both had their engines off, so they were fully parked. One was blocking a fire hydrant. This prevents the movement of cars at the entrance to the community and is a huge nuisance. This is certainly not the first time there's been a car parked in that area. Notice how this post title said, "If you thought one car parked," because we've all seen one car there. This is a recurring problem. It's disrespectful to everyone else in the community to constantly park in non-designated parking areas. It happens multiple times a day, and I'm sure each person thinks it's fine because I won't be here for that long. So far, I've had 8 instances of someone parking in front of my driveway. Just because they were delivering something to my neighbor doesn't make it any less annoying. I don't agree with you that parking illegally is a necessary evil. I also think that where those 2 cars were parked made an unsafe situation for everyone else entering and leaving the community or turning around the corner from the street by the mailbox. It's not okay to inconvenience everyone else just to convenience you. By the way, there are plenty of available spots for visitors. They're just a short walk away, probably less than 1/10 of a mile. And people are lazy. This HOA guy has had a car parked in front of his house daily for weeks now. I'm sure the repairman could drop off his equipment and then go park his car the right way. If they're blocking a fire hydrant, call the non-emergency police line. They'll learn to park right real quick. And if there were ever a fire, that car would be destroyed. The fire department can and will smash windows out to get the fire hose to the hydrant. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.